Moving on to a very, very hotly contested category, one that spans over multiple consoles, our favorite retro cartridge game of 2020. And like I said, spans over so many different consoles. Surprisingly, the Academy only selected between two here, but my goodness, was this a difficult decision, I'm sure, that they had to make. So I will now present the nominees, which are, for the Super Nintendo, Mega Man X. We have, for the Sega Genesis, Phantasy Star 3. And we have, also for the Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger. My goodness, we have some power here, people. And starting out with Mega Man X, I got a taste of this game earlier in the year. I don't remember exactly when, but I felt like it was an easier pick up and put down than the NES counterparts. I felt like it was still challenging, but the level of difficulty wasn't one that you really had to be so much in the rhythm of the game, and the soundtrack on this was incredible as well. The next one I had was Phantasy Star 3, and I'm sure there are many here watching who are not familiar with this game. Maybe you don't even have a Genesis, but perhaps that's why I want to spend a little more time on this game, for how incredible my playing experience was, which was not through the end of the game even, but the grittiness of the soundtrack, the story behind it. I mean, just look at the cover, right? Just look at the cover, and that for me would be enough to like buy this game. It's not too expensive. It's an RPG, and I want to kind of compare it to Final Fantasy. That's kind of the default RPG I think of, but there were some very unique elements to this game that gave it a medieval slash space slash time factor feel to it, and the story had such depth of emotion. I'm trying to say things without like spoiling it, that I would just say do a quick YouTube search and look up the intro or the opening credits, whatever it is. It is an incredible experience. So I'm glad the Academy put that one on there. Our final nominee is Chrono Trigger, of course. This was our most recent Friday night rental of 2020, and we did give it that buy recommendation. All I can say is go watch the video if you want to hear more, or else I will sit here for another half hour and talk about this game. But the quick hits I'll give is amazing soundtrack, amazing story, very smooth and playable, and just quite the journey. So Chrono Trigger getting the head nod from the Academy as well. But of course, people, there can only be one. And so, Sergio, if you could hand me what the Academy has presented me with, the SLAMMY for favorite retro cartridge game of 2020 goes to Chrono Trigger. Yes! Wow, and I looked at the results, people. This was closer than you might think. So Chrono Trigger getting the nod for all of those reasons I mentioned, but I really would have, the Academy would have given this to Phantasy Star 3 if this game wasn't quite as good as it was. It's good enough that it had to be this game, but gosh darn it, I am going to remember playing this in 2020. So this was a tougher decision to make than some may think, but Chrono Trigger you really can't go wrong with it. As I mentioned in our Friday night rental, I think this game could appeal to really any audience of gamer, and I stand by those words. All right, we're not backing down. So a well-deserved SLAMMY for Chrono Trigger. Next up, we have an interesting curveball category here. This is the GameSLAM budget game of the year, and in this case we put a limit of $15 for the maximum value of games in this category. What it's intended to be is for someone who might not be a collector. You probably don't want to spend as much money on the older games. You probably are comfortable spending top dollar on the Switch and whatever other systems are. I've tried to say the new Xbox before and just epically failed. So in any case, if I am trying to read some minds here, that you probably would take an endorsement for a good retro game of $15 or less. I thought about doing $10, and I probably should have, but I felt like I would pay up that extra $5 if I knew it was gonna be just butter. So in this case, we have 3 games of different values. I'm gonna start with the cheapest first. NES Ice Hockey. This is a $4 game. The second nominee is Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is about an $8 game. And the last one for nomination is Street Fighter 2 Turbo. This is approximately a $15 game, of course more with the box. So let's talk about ice hockey. I mentioned, if you guys watched the Christmas special about Super Mario Bros. 3, how I took a trip with some friends, I brought my Nintendo, and everyone enjoyed Super Mario Bros. 3. Well, I would say the second most enjoyable game for that group was ice hockey. We played this game for hours, one-on-one, picking your countries, the US, the Soviet Union, Finland, whoever you want. It's very simple, but it's a good pick up and put down game. And if you're playing with people who haven't played before, it's a pretty fair, balanced game. So ice hockey, $4, you gotta get this. Next up, I'm sure I would think that many in the audience have played this game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, absolute classic. Played this quite a bit in the summer this year with some friends, and I have to admit, I myself am not good at this game. I mean, I'm okay against like the computer players, but I was getting absolutely wrecked by my friends. But this game has a lot of different layers to it, and because of that, and just the, my love for Star Wars and all the characters, great game that you need to pick up. If you don't have it, you need to pick it up. The last nominee is Street Fighter 2 Turbo, one of the staple beat-em-up side-scroller Super Nintendo games. You ask anyone who's a Super Nintendo lover, they're going to bring up games like Street Fighter 2, where you can just pick it up, get cramps in your hands for mashing buttons, and just go to town. So with that, let's check in with our correspondent on the what the SLAMMY is for this one. Let's see what the Academy was thinking, and it looks like the SLAMMY for best budget game of our 2020 gaming year is going to Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Woo! Yes! Yes! Yes!
Okay, so because the Academy allowed for a $15 limit that did make this game eligible, perhaps it will go up in value in future years, and it may fall off. It may have one of those asterisks that we see in Wikipedia all the time, but it is getting the SLAMMY this year. And for anyone in the audience, there are many in the audience who were part of our July GameSLAM game night. We did have a Street Fighter 2 Turbo tournament, And I think it was a great game for someone to pick up, even if you've never played it, get to feel it out a little bit, and just have the heartbeat racing during these battles. It's a great game to play with friends, and because of that, and because it is, again, affordable, I think you guys need to pick this one up if you don't have it already. So a well-deserved SLAMMY. Best budget game of the 2020 gaming year is going to Street Fighter II Turbo. This is a special category. This is one that, man, it's so hard to compare because you're not comparing apples to apples. In this case, we are going to be determining the GameSLAM soundtrack of the year. It's so difficult between systems, between eras, and really thinking what is the music that captures my attention, that gets me excited to play the game, and what kind of music am I listening to from video games outside of the games when I'm maybe studying or doing something else. So the nominees for the GameSLAM soundtrack of the year are as follows. First up, we have Mario Kart 64. Next up, on the same system, we have Cruisin' USA. And finally, I really did not want to overlap games from other awards categories, but in this case I had to also include an honorable nomination to Chrono Trigger for Super Nintendo. See our Chrono Trigger video for more in-depth analysis about the soundtracks. So, starting out with Mario Kart 64, this is one that I think is burned into many people's brains because of that multiplayer experience, and it has quite a variety, even though a few tracks are used ironically for multiple kart tracks. I just think of in general the hype atmosphere of like the Wario Stadium, and I'm gonna have that music playing while I'm pumping my fist here because it gets me going. But there's some other ones too. The Frappe Snowland, we included in our Christmas video. It's a little more chill, pun intended, and I feel like there's a wide variety of music for what is kind of a repetitive multiplayer game. Next up, we're keeping it racing, people, and I don't have too much to say about this. I don't know much about the depth of the soundtrack per se, but the opening sequence is enough to deserve nomination. If you've ever played the game, just it comes out of the gate swinging, and I had to put Cruisin' USA in the honorable mentions for GameSLAM soundtrack of the year. Last but certainly not least, we have Chrono Trigger for Super Nintendo. I have talked about the soundtrack quite a bit, both in our previous segment of favorite retro cartridge game of the year and our Chrono Trigger video, so I don't want to beat it to death too much, but I feel like this soundtrack had both a variety of intensity while also having some softness to it and really just a lot of emotional depth. So this one was one that, like I said, I wanted to pick a different third game and have some games that we haven't even talked about today. But in this case, it was such a good soundtrack that it needed at least a nomination. So without further ado, let's see what the Academy was thinking here. I hold in my hand the SLAMMY for GameSLAM soundtrack of the year, and the committee has gone with, okay, they went with Chrono Trigger.
Woo! Yes! Yes!
They went with Chrono Trigger. And if I am to speculate on their behalf, I think I hit it just in the introductory comments a little bit, the depth. Mario Kart 64 has a lot of power to it, a lot of fun to it, a lot of bounce to it. And Cruisin' USA, like I said, it comes out of the gate swinging. But this soundtrack from start to finish, without lyrics, is able to tell a story. And because of that, I think the Academy wanted to recognize the richness of the soundtrack because it was such a big piece of our 2020 for the GameSLAM gamers. So another SLAMMY, two SLAMMYs, we've never seen this before, for Chrono Trigger. Okay, who's with me? Who's with me? I need eyes right here. I need you to stand up, stretch those legs. I need you to do whatever you need to do to refocus. I'm sure we are, well past the 20-minute mark, maybe 30-minute mark of this video, and people are screaming at me to hurry up. But I'm sorry, that's not going to happen because we have made it to the final category of the 2020 SLAMMY Awards, the GameSLAM Game of the Year. And I just want to set the stage a little bit because there's going to be a different way we present this. And also I want to bring up how the nominees were selected. So based on the SLAMMYs we handed out earlier in this show, we have decided to move forward 3 of those winners to this final round. Games that were not eligible are ones that were chosen for their collectability nature. These are games that were chosen based on their playability, okay? And how we're going to present this one a little bit differently is because this is such a massive award, everyone is just biting their fingernails off and curling their toes thinking about it. We are going to announce the bronze medal, the silver medal, and the gold medal. So rather than seeing the nominees and then getting one, you're going to just get the bronze, get the silver, and get the gold, okay? So without further ado, I would like to present the bronze medal winner for 2020 GameSLAM Game of the Year. It is going to Fire Emblem 3 Houses, okay? We're gonna get a full video on this one at some point, so I want to give more, I want to give less commentary, but I do want to just mention that for a large portion of 2020, this game was on track for the gold. That's really all I want to say, and kind of cloud it in that veil before doing a full video. But I did overall really enjoy this game. I put over 60 hours into it. It was the game I played most in 2020. I'll remember it forever, but it didn't quite rise to the level of a silver or a gold. But still, bronze medal, that's well-deserved. It is well-deserved. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Moving on to the silver medal, and let me just say, for anyone who may, let out a little sigh or a little, disgust for this not getting the gold, I just want to mention how close it was between silver and gold in this case, and as I mentioned, Fire Emblem was in the running for the gold for much of the year as well. But without further ado, I have to announce the silver medal for 2020 GameSLAM Game of the Year is going to Chrono Trigger, okay? It was so close to the gold, and for many reasons I wanted to give it the gold, but there can only be one. It got 2 SLAMMYs. It really is getting a 3rd SLAMMY here. Best soundtrack, best retro cartridge game. And I've talked about it so much that I don't need to tell you why I love this game, but really the last thing I want to say is that I am going to finish this game. I haven't finished it yet. We've just done the Friday night rental where I played about 8 hours of the game, and I am really excited to finish this game in 2021. And I'm sorry for everyone who's probably saying, Scotty, if you finish this game, it probably would have won the gold. Perhaps you're right, but for now, we can only go off of what we've played, and man, did I enjoy this game. So a well-deserved silver medal for Chrono Trigger. So people, this brings us to the end of the awards show. Thank you for hanging with us. The gold medal, which many probably already know what it is based on process of elimination, is of course Kingdom Hearts.
Woo! 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 Yes! Yes! Yes!
It's our gold medal GameSLAM Game of the Year. And I want to talk about why, without even talking about the game so much. I want to talk about why this was chosen by the Academy. There are things within games. There are mechanics. There are, storylines. There are graphics. There are things baked into the game that the game designers have control over. But what I don't think those game designers and developers have as much control over is the gamer's connection to the game, the gamer's emotional connection to the game. And this is why this game was chosen. And of course, we don't like to talk about emotions. We're men. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Hey. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
But I really felt both because this was kind of the quarantine year. I was playing this game during a part of the year where I wasn't seeing a lot of friends. And that there's both with the development of Sora and just the story itself, but just overall, one scene sticks out to me. I enjoyed the music throughout, the story throughout, but towards the end of the game, when Sora is faced with his final enemy, and just what transpires is so emotional and also similar to some emotions that I was having at the time, that I'm actually going to insert the 30-40 second clip of that cutscene.
How will you fight without a weapon?
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart.
Your heart? What good will that weak little thing do for you?
Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
What?
So that scene, it rocked my world. There's no other way to say it. It rocked my world. And it was just, I felt like I was in the game. There's no other way to say it. I really felt like I was in the game. And it was just something that I was able to latch onto. And I will continue the series. We're only at the first game here. But, the reason we did this show is I wanted to have a time capsule of what I played in 2020 and what I really will remember from this year of gaming. I guess now from last year of gaming. And gosh darn it, I think I will remember playing this game in my upstairs game room in the summer, for the rest of my gaming life. So thanks for listening to me ramble for so long, people. I haven't edited this yet, so who knows how much I'll keep and how much I'll cut out from the other awards, but this show would not be possible without the support of everyone out there. So I want to thank you for joining us. I ask that you continue to keep an eye on the channel as we continue to do some things in 2021 and hopefully have some more interaction with everyone. And so, like I said, I want to thank everyone. Please leave a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed the video. And my question of the day for you, I always like doing these at the end because it shows who actually stayed the whole time. What was your favorite game that you played in 2020? I'm curious to see how many people chose a new game and how many maybe chose an older game. So please let us know down below. And once again, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time. GameSLAM signing off. I never know what I'm going to say. That'll be in the blooper reel too.
Oh, no, Sergio.
Sergio! Gosh darn it, there are so many systems that could be a part of it. There are so many different games to be considered. And I feel I don't really like... Maybe I'm just sitting too close or something, but like... I don't really want my arms to be super visible like that. I'm gonna start filming.
You had an idea.
Blooper. The final game. I may have slightly spoiled it, so we're actually gonna just make this part a blooper. Sergio. It was one of those that was so just a. We're gonna redo this one. We're gonna redo this one because it's about to win, and I'm talking about the things I would talk about when it wins. Another blooper.